Good evening and welcome to Jesse Day Trade number 10. It's been a little while. I apologize for that. My wife and I, as we've mentioned on the posts on the channel, we just relocated to a new city, and we've been busy getting settled into the new house, the new city, and work has been really busy lately. So we're doing the best we can with making content and trading. I believe when we last made a video, it was the 7th of May. So I have pulled up here on our schedule that general time frame, and we had a win that day of 1.53% profit, or about $65. And then we ended off that week at another day of profit with 0.6% profit, or about $26. So we also, around that time, actually, I think that day was the first day that we actually started officially recording in our notes tab, or notes column, how much more we could have made or could have lost in a trade, and how much total profit we could have had that day or total loss. So we're trying to get, as we've discussed in previous videos, we're trying to gather some data to see how we might be able to try to increase our target for profit per trade. Generally right now we're trying to target 1% profit per trade, but we've been noticing, like we've discussed in previous videos, that a lot of the time it seems like we're saying, oh man, we could have made a lot more money on that trade, or we could have made a lot more money today, things like that. So we're just trying to gather some data to see how powerful our entries are, basically. And with our areas of liquidity that we're drawing on the highs and low side of the price range, we're trying to see the entries that we're entering with, using those lines, how accurate they are and how powerful they are in terms of how much return we can get per trade. So as you can see, that Thursday, 7 May, we could have made 2.9%. So we made 1.53%, but we could have made 2.9 more percent for a total of 4.43% profit. And so that's kind of how our notes are working. And then the following day, we made 0.6%, but we could have made 1.33% more for a total of 1.93%. All right, now we go to the next week, 11 May through the 15th of May. We had a win that Monday, 0.8%, could have made 3.4 more, could have made 4.2%. Then you see that Thursday, we had a loss. So what had happened, and this is a little bit in the past, and like I said, work's been busy, so I don't remember all the specifics, but generally I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a general gist of what I remember happened. Okay, so looks like Tuesday we didn't trade, and we entered a trade in inverse leveraged Tesla on that Wednesday, 13 May, and we got stuck. And like I've said in previous videos, I was thinking about, or we've been thinking about, not letting ourselves get stuck anymore, but rather selling our positions if it doesn't turn in the right direction by that afternoon, so that way we can have our money out of the market going into the overnight hours, and then be able to reattack the next day. We didn't do that, and you'll see if I scroll down a little bit more, you'll see that we didn't do that. Also, actually, if I scroll up, we also didn't do that on the 1st of May as well. However, I think we already talked about that, because I'm pretty sure our last video was the 7th of May. But anyways, on the 14th May loss, we entered the day before, we held our positions, and we ended up getting out at a minus 3.97% loss, which I think, if I remember right, and yeah, I got it recorded here, it could have been a lot worse. And like I was saying, we really should get out if it gets to minus 3%. But again, like all of trading, a lot of it is keeping yourself in check and keeping yourself disciplined to your strategy. And I still need work on that. I'm not at all by any means good at that yet, but I'm getting better. And I think this last loss was a very good learning opportunity for me. So as you can see, we lost minus 3.97%, or $169. Okay. And then we could have lost 5.1% more for a total loss of 9.07%. But thankfully, we got out at only minus 3.97%. Now, that is still over the 3% tolerance that we had talked about previously. So that was still a loss. And the fact that we stayed stuck for an afternoon is also a loss, because if you look at this closely, let's say we got out like we were thinking about changing our strategy to. Let's say we got out on Wednesday. We could have reattacked Thursday and again Friday, and we could have had possibly 2 profitable days, but instead we had an unprofitable day and 2 no trades. So we could have had 1 no trade, 2 profitable days, or at least 2 potentially profitable days. But instead we got a negative day and 2 no trades. All right. And then we didn't learn our lesson. The very next Monday, we got stuck in leverage Tesla, or we entered leverage Tesla, got stuck, didn't sell, and stayed stuck Tuesday. But then you see we sold for a little bit of profit on Wednesday. We could have made 2.72% total, but we made 0.52. But either way, if we could have gotten out and possibly been profitable Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday and Friday. So it could have been an extra day of profitability too. And then going back up to this loss of minus 3.97%, like I said, we didn't get out, obviously, when we should have. And it could have been a lot worse, negative 9%. And I really think if you are getting into quality positions, or you're making quality entries on your positions, it shouldn't go more than 3% down. And if you get to that point, generally, I think it could be better just to cut your losses there, because it seems like most of the trades that we've been making lately are profitable fairly quickly. And sometimes it's like less than 5 minutes. Like I think this one on the 21st of May, the $49 day, I think that was a 4-minute trade, a 4 to 5 minute trade. So meaning we entered and then about 4 or 5 minutes later we sold for profit. So that was a good read. That was a good entry. Some of these other times it takes longer. Sometimes it takes almost all day. But generally, if you're making a quality entry at a time that you should be entering, you should be able to get out pretty quickly. So if you're not getting out quickly and you're going 3% in the wrong direction, maybe just cut your losses. I mean, sometimes it works out. Sometimes you get out and it goes back in the right direction, like here, what happened, where we entered, we got stuck, and then we made a profit. But even then, it wasn't that much of a profit. So I think in general, it's probably better to get out at around 3%. And who knows, maybe we'll start gathering data on that 3%, and maybe if it gets down to 2.5%, it'd be good to sell, or maybe 2%. So we'll just have to keep looking at how the numbers go in the future and see if we think we should change it. But right now we're thinking about 3%. Okay, let's see. We had a no trade day on this past Monday for Memorial Day. And then this week was mostly busy with work, was the reason that we didn't enter the market. We did have an opportunity on Wednesday and we made almost 1%. So this week, $40 profit, not the end of the world, not the best, not the worst. At least it wasn't a loss, right? So our totals right now, we have just over 103 trading days so far this year logged in 2000, I almost said 2006, 2026, with a total number of wins of 55, total number of losses 5, number of no trade days 43. So that brings us to 53% win rate, 5% loss rate, and 42% no trade rate, with a daily average of 0.27% profit, or about $10 per day. And then I'm planning on keeping a running total of the year-to-date return of our portfolio and just keep it. I'm going to update that number. I was just kind of having it here, I think, and just updating it over time. Like, yeah, I have a leftover one up here that's empty. But what I'm thinking about doing now is each either profitable or unprofitable day, I'm going to update that year-to-date performance percentage and just keep them there, so that way we have a little bit of a record. We can see, oh, okay, so we're climbing or we're going down in terms of year-to-date performance. So right now we're at 43.28%, even after our hiccups there. So not too bad for not even being halfway through the year yet. We are approaching halfway through the year, but not quite yet. Yeah, so now I'm going to talk about today. So although we didn't trade today, both yesterday and today both could have been, at least on the Tesla side of things, could have been profitable days. So I still have the lines drawn for the areas of liquidity on the high side and low side today, the red and green lines here, respectively, and then the 0830 start time for central time for the open of the market. So you see, right at the beginning of the day, we went down a little bit, then we went up, then we went down. So we went from below a green line, and then so actually I'll start. So we went below an area of liquidity on the low side, and then had a retest or a reflection back up above that green line. So ordinarily, that's where we would have been looking to possibly go long if there is a continued upward trajectory after going below and then bouncing back up from a green line. But instead, it kept going down and down and down. So this would have been, especially if we saw it dive down below here, these are the 3-minute candles, I probably would have entered here, or possibly around here as well. Like I said, I was busy with work today, but these probably would have been decent areas to enter, and a short position or an inverse leverage position of Tesla, and could have made a decent amount of profit. And then later in the morning, approaching 10 o'clock Central Time, you also could have done the opposite. You could have seen this big downward trend and been like, okay, well, and also relatively speaking, Tesla's been pretty high this week. We're in the low approaching mid 400s per share, so we're relatively high. But if you were a little nervous about how much it was going down and you didn't know if it was going to turn around or maybe hook and reflect around this line or this line, which I ended up doing on this one, you could have, when you saw it coming back up, maybe, okay, see if it's going to keep going up after it went above this area of liquidity, but it came back, retested, and then came up. Maybe you entered here. You could enter there. You could have made a little bit of money there. Maybe you got scared out here, but then if you held on, you could have gone for a nice little growth there as well. So like I said, a pretty good day. Could have been profitable today had we been paying close attention to the charts and been able to be keeping a close eye on the positions. But nevertheless, right now our year to date is actually 43.53%, but I'm not updating that. We have, my wife and I, we have some investments in, in different cryptocurrencies, but They're not really big positions, so I'm suspecting some of those fluctuations may have been what was changing the year to date um, to 43.53 versus what I had recorded 43.28 the other day. It's not a big difference, but it's a little bit of a difference. But yeah, so that just about wraps up JDT episode 10 now. So once again, we'd like to thank you all very much for tuning in and watching, and we hope you guys are enjoying our videos, and we'd like to remind you to like, comment, and subscribe if you feel so inclined, and that can help us out a lot. And like I said, we're getting settled into a new area. Work's been busy, so we're going to be trying to keep posting content as much as we can because we love doing it, and the trading has been really good lately, and it's been a lot of fun. So once again, thank you for tuning in to Jesse Day Trades 10. See ya.